Okay, let's start adding some things to our game. First thing we're going to do is get something happening with the camera. But I'm going to need to update a few of the scripts as you guys test things out. Sometimes I find some weaknesses and I make some changes, and I'll give you a new version of the script to use. When that happens, you need to make sure you correctly change the scripts out. So for instance, we're going to need a new game manager. So to illustrate the problem here, what happens a lot is that I give you a new version and it's named the same thing. And so if I were to copy this and paste it, now I have two of the scripts here. And here it updates, and now all of a sudden I have an error. And the error is two things here. One is that the copy, if you download it into the same folder, the copy has this problem now where the file name no longer matches the class name. What does that mean? Here is let's do it this way. There we go. Right, this one looks fine. But in the new one I gave you, it has the same name, and you put it in there and it either has copy after it or has a 1 after it, and that's no good. And so what I recommend doing, because now you're getting an error because this one doesn't have the same name, meaning that this name here doesn't match this name on the class. This needs to be exactly the same as the name of the file. If not, you get an error, and now I can't go into play mode. So the best practice is that if I'm giving you a replacement script, once you download it, make sure when you download it, it doesn't have a number 1 after. If it does, just edit it. Number 2 would be to remove the old script before you even bring the new one into the project. Okay. That means you'll need to reattach the script wherever it goes in the game, but that'll be nothing but good practice, learning where things need to go. So, cool. I can't stress that enough. Delete the old scripts before you bring in the new ones that I give you. For instance, the new game manager. The new game manager is going to allow us to handle a camera. Let's do a couple things. Let's get the game in the correct aspect ratio. We'll use a 9:16, and if up here you don't have 9:16, you can hit plus and add a 9:16, not fixed resolution, but a 9:16 aspect ratio, right? That way, if you use fixed resolution, it'll give you 9 pixels by 16 pixels. If you use aspect ratio, it will give you 9:16 and allow you to resize it, or scale it rather. Good. Now the game view is the correct orientation. We're going for like a phone style thing. Second, you see I expanded my play area for 5 lanes of traffic. So you're going to need to organize that. All of my roads here, I encapsulated my road and the spawners under each road to organize the game. All right, keeping everything as organized as possible. So let's do some more organization over here. I'm going to make another blank null, and I'll call this one background. Then I'm going to take all the hills and drag that down into background. There we go. So just cleaning everything up. Background, sky, road. There we go. And let's put the mountains back here in the background. Cool. Just to keep everything organized as easy as I can to find things over here. Cool. And I had to move my player spawn point down here, to compensate for that. And so if I do this now, cool, it's working just fine. Now, let's go ahead and address this camera thing. In order to use the new camera, to do some more elegant camera movement, we're going to use an additional package called Cinemachine. Okay, Window, Package Manager, and you got to go to the Unity registry and it's like the word cinema and the word machine mushed together, Cinemachine. We'll use this in every game to make sure that it's just the best way of managing cameras in Unity. And so if you can just search here for CINE, and there it is, Cinemachine. I already installed it, so you can install it. Once you install correctly, up here, you have a Cinemachine window, or menu rather. Now, let's go ahead and create a new Cinemachine 2D camera. Great. And so now two things happened. One, it made this icon on the main camera, so it's telling you this main camera is now controlled by Cinemachine. Two, it made the new CMV cam. And so this is where we use what we use to control all of our camera stuff now. Not the main camera, but this camera here. Cool. And so now I am going to reset this camera. There we go. Then move it back on the Z. And let's just move it down for now. I have it set so that it will follow the character once we provide it to the game manager. So let's do that first. Once you put the new game manager script on, you'll see that there is a field now for the Cinemachine camera. And so I'm going to provide that right here. And let me just put the text in there again so that that's in the right place. So start win and lose. Great. Now if we hit play, I'm going to select the Cinemachine virtual camera 1 over there, and I get this. And so now if I start moving, it follows the chicken. And if we want to have a bigger view, we can control the lens orthographic size. And so you can move this a little bit. Now I am in game mode right now, so I have to remember this won't stick, but I'll show you how to get around that. So I'll zoom this out a little bit. And then we also don't want there to be all this dead space. We want the chicken to be kind of at the bottom of the screen. And so over here under tracked object offset, I'm going to go ahead and dial this kind of like that. There we go. Now before I go out of play mode, I'm going to right click and say copy component. I'm going to go out of play mode and then right click on this and say paste component values. And that should update my Cinemachine values over here, so that now when I start the game again, those values should be there. Cool. And we have the correct orientation. Looking good. So let's give ourselves a little bit of room to move here. I'm going to just turn up the damping on the camera. And so if we turn this up, you'll see that it'll take a little bit for the camera to catch up to the character, which I think just makes it look way more interesting than just having it be hard locked to the character. Let's give it a little bit more damping, more like that. And that way if you move up really quickly, you know, it's kind of catching up to you. Cool. Great. Let's give it a little bit more space right there. About 45. Great. All right, so I increased the damping, I gave myself a little bit of offset, and I made sure that the framing was correct using the orthographic size. Great, so we have that. We have much better camera movement. Again, you need to do that after you switch out the new avoidance game manager script.